It's Dandadan, the show where we talk about Dandadan, a manga about the Dandadans. This week was a lot, and not only do I feel vindicated to some degree thanks to me winning a bet, because, literally, last week I said that by the end of this arc, Ocaroon would confess to Momo. If I won, you'd have to join my Discord. Bet's a bet, fellas. Get on that Discord server. But besides that, yes, we indeed did get the confession everyone has been waiting for, and not only that, what in the hell is this whistle that Jeremy gave to Momo? I think it's time for an extra long Dandadan video this week. From now until October 31st, Gamer Subs is holding a special sale. When you use code CTactics, you will get 20% off until October 31st. My recommendations are Jujutsu Kaisen Cursed Energy and their new Crimson Moonburst Subs flavor. Make sure to pick it up with either the now new I Come in Peace waifu cup or the now new Boo waifu cup. It's sort of like how Ocaroon is Momo's almost boo, but this boo is, well, it's just a cup. It won't be your boo. So code CTactics, everyone. Get it while it lasts. We pick up directly from chapter 214, in which Momo and Jeremy confront one another with those sharp, almost Jeffrey Dahmer-esque gaze. He stares down a nervous Momo to set the scene, but Momo is not fazed beyond that. She is still Momo and thus immediately asks for his identity. She is clearly distrustful and believes that she has never seen him before, even stating that outsiders should not be hanging out at schools. Jeremy, obviously, is a teacher at the school, though after this confrontation, I've got a theory on that. I'll get into it later in the video. But for now, he simply states, "Very nice," which gave me kind of the creeps. He tells her that he is the advisor for the History and Culture Research Club. Interesting. But Momo isn't believing it. In fact, she outright calls him a liar to his face. On one hand, this is funny because Momo is just Momo here, not giving a crap about her lost memory and only believing herself. I didn't notice this until this chapter, but we can surmise that before Ocaroon and the Dum-de-Dums, Momo Ayase was a highly distrustful person. This clocks, as we know she was bullied in her past, was untrusting of people like Gigi, but also as well Seiko, as she blamed her for being bullied in the first place. We learn here, 250 chapters into the series, that the Dum-de-Dums pretty much helped overcome her trust issues. I personally credit Ira Mental Health Authority for this. Momo shrugs off Jeremy's ominous retorts as she passes him, but he gives her a whistle. His reasoning for this is that if she is ever in trouble, then she is to use the whistle. Now, Jeremy is unsure if Momo will even need it, but since Momo shrugged off Jeremy, she also shrugs off the gesture and takes the whistle just in case she does. I don't need to say this, but that entire moment was so strange and a very, very ominous moment. That whistle clearly is a Chekhov's gun, which in writing is the concept of a device that is set up early in the story to be used later on, but for a majority of the story is out of mind and out of sight or neatly tucked off into the corner, aka a loaded Chekhov's gun ready to be used at a moment's notice. Either way, very ominous. So Miko and Kei, the bestest friends in the history of bestest friends, try to tell Momo that Jeremy has always been working at the school, and since she has lost her memories, she doesn't remember. This joke has so many layers, and all of them make Momo seem more and more endearing. I think it is rather cute that Momo refuses to understand that she lost her memories, and when everyone tells her something she's forgotten, she just stubbornly refuses. It's an example of her trust issues, but also is totally Momo, and that's why we all like her. She's got brains like a brick, an attitude like that of a Gyaru dragon? Bro material, my friends. So they tell Momo that she has forgotten all about poor Ocaroon, even saying that he is her boo, which is funny to me. I have a friend from Poland who uses this word all of the time when referring to her husbando, so seeing it here just kind of makes me giggle. But this next bit of dialogue for Momo is kind of awesome. She says that they may have been good friends, but she didn't sense that before. To make matters worse, she remembers Ira, Mental Health Authority, attaching herself like a trailer on a truck to Ocaroon. It felt like she was being alienated from the group. Now, this explains the last chapter much better, completing that thought that she originally had at the end. I obviously like this, and it is because Momo's instinct is clashing with her other emotions toward Ocaroon that she doesn't know that she doesn't know, to quote a certain Russian. So Miko and Kei force Momo to stop being a blockhead and to go on a date with Ocaroon. We see here that friendship and connections save yet another relationship in Dandadan, this time Momo and Ocaroon. I cannot describe how much better this makes the entire series feel, because every time this happens, I feel a gust of fresh air hit me. It is nice that while every single character in this series has only one brain cell exactly, but Vamola has like literally 0, so there's a difference there, but even the people around characters with troubles are often held up by their friends. No matter what, it seems. It makes the series feel grounded and realistic, because this is exactly what having a large friend group is like. Your friends will guide you when you are lost. I don't care what the hell is wrong with you. I mean, for example, last week, I was diagnosed with manic depression. And since then, I've had nothing but complete support from my close friends and viewers in my Discord server. So, Dandadan truly does feel like it is written by a man who has a really good friend group around him, which makes sense. He's friends with Tatsuki Fujimoto, who is also secretly Gege Akutami, and we know this. And it is really funny that I get diagnosed with a form of bipolar disorder because her friends tell Momo to take some action. Inaction is one of the symptoms of manic depression, by the way, so I know exactly how that feels. But inaction in general, though, is just not good. And this is what Momo is experiencing. This is why she is called a blockhead, because that is literally what it physically feels like to have inaction take effect. I also think this is a great story for the younger readers of the series and viewers of these videos especially. Remember, y'all, all you need to do is make a decision and just do it. Commit to something, because doing nothing will only fuel your misery. When you get mixed up, call a friend, talk it out. Just like how Miko and Kei helped Momo go and find her almost boo and all that stuff. So I loved the art in this part of the chapter because it is prime Moe Blob Momo, Kei, and Miko, forcing a reluctant Momo to just do the right thing and go on a date with her almost boo. So they go to check out the Mummy Man. A nice detail is how Momo is so reluctant. She keeps telling them nobody would believe the crap that they spew, once again showing just how distrustful she is right now. Her mind is basically still pretty closed, so when she realizes it's just a museum, she lets her guard down and goes along with it. I also really appreciated Miko and Kei coming along too. It was a nice addition. So they go to see the exhibit, and you better bet that in Dandadan, this is one of the most important moments of an entire arc. Ocaroon, due to his excessive knowledge of cryptids and ancient history and folklore, explains to Momo and the gals that at the time, royalty believed they needed their physical bodies to be resurrected in the afterlife. So they took careful measures to preserve their bodies, storing them in airtight containers called sarcophagus, along with the process of mummification through the use of a substance called mumia, which also had many other uses throughout ancient Egypt in the 12th century, like being a cure-all for many ailments, and if you really needed to go the extra mile, when duty calls, an aphrodisiac. Now, for where Ocaroon really shines, he explains that there is a theory that aliens come from outer space to use the mummified human corpses because on Earth, they cannot survive without wearing a body. Essentially, it is like how humans need a spacesuit in outer space to properly survive. Conceptually, it is very fascinating, as you can see, because to aliens, Earth is a hazardous as space itself is to us humans. Momo, hearing this, is enraptured by it all, and immediately she's so charmed by Ocaroon's vast knowledge. Nice detail is that Ocaroon states all of these things are hypothesis, and thus could be right. Oh, well, it could also be wrong too. He then asks if Momo believes yet, and she doesn't, but does admit that he is a good storyteller and entertainer, at least to her. Very charming stuff. Ocaroon's reaction, though, is priceless, and also kind of a little heart-wrenching. She really loves Momo a lot, and every time she praises him, it heals him in these moments, but also hurts him due to the position they're both in. It's pretty brutal and must be wearing down on Ocaroon. I mean, it would on me. Though, can we get an appreciation circle for the goats Miko and Kei? Because they abandon the two, leaving them alone together while Momo grinds her teeth. I love that. Ocaroon catches on to why they did this, though. Ocaroon refuses to let Momo walk home when out of nowhere, like an RKO, comes out and just asks Ocaroon directly, "Actually, Ocaroon, do you love me?" To which Ocaroon replies, "I totally love you," which hits Momo right in the cockles of her heart. Love that word. I hate to say this, fellas, but I told you this whole amnesia thing wouldn't be a big deal at all. And having bipolar disorder, you guys irritated the freak out of me doing that, so you are forgiven. I literally cannot help it. Sorry. But you gotta admit, maybe I was onto something when I suggested that we should just have a little bit of patience to see how this would play out. We have been shown time and time again that Tatsu has and will continue to flip really annoying tropes on their head and make them work and engage the reader and viewer. But am I right? If you think I am, hit that like button for me, please. They then get into a spat where Ocaroon keeps telling Momo that she loves him too, while Momo refuses to believe such an obvious truth. So she goes for the cheeks, grabs Ocaroon's face, shakes him while his heart breaks. That was actually a pretty good rhyme. I should write a song. And Momo, not even understanding her own feelings, is worried. She doesn't like that Ira, mental health Atori, knew Ocaroon's real name while she did not. And she describes Ira as this cute girl too, which Ocaroon picks up on and further uses this as evidence to support his own claims. I just love this. This is the kind of writing that romance anime and manga honestly need. Not that dumb crap where they suddenly become bumbling idiots who can't properly communicate at the most convenient of times. Suddenly, they enter alternate space where Serpos come running at them. What a freaking twist! This chapter was freaking goated. This is one of the best chapters in recent memory. This is probably the best chapter of this arc. This is probably the best chapter in all of existence. So let's dive into some theories coming out of this chapter. The mummy stuff may be a way to set up that Jeremy is an alien using the ancient corpse of a mummy or a pharaoh even. No way we don't get like 4 or 5 pages dedicated to Ocaroon explaining this and not have it come into play. Also, Jeremy literally looks like a Yu-Gi-Oh character cosplaying as Jeffrey Dahmer. I'm sorry, Master Chief, but that guy is clearly an alien and maybe even that goddamned Nessie too. Well, you don't know yet, but I guarantee you that Jeremy's appearance is totally stolen from a pharaoh. He also is wearing the guy liner that pharaohs usually wore to look more opulent and generally cooler. Plus, it would explain why he was able to go to the Kerbaddie and get her to join him, or rather trick her into joining him, because he's an alien too. Also, there is a sister theory I have along with this. At the beginning of the chapter, Momo didn't remember Jeremy, and he stated to her that he was the advisor of the History and Culture Research Club. Interesting, is it not? Now, what would such a Jeffrey Dahmer, pharaoh-looking fellow such as this douchebag wad need to know about history and culture? Why would he research such things? Well, of course, because he is using the body of an ancient pharaoh. I'm going to go even further, bros. One of Egypt's most controversial pharaohs, Akhenaten, is known as the heretic king because he abandoned Egypt's polytheistic religious practices in favor of a monotheistic religion, which was, of course, the worship of the sun god Ra. Now, I'm not trying to say that this is the body of Akhenaten, but the fact he looks like a Yu-Gi-Oh character, in which the series takes heavy inspiration from Egyptian culture and history, while also having a card called the Winged Dragon of Ra. Oh, and also, look here, that's the bust of Akhenaten. We also know that Jeffrey Dahmer beheaded people, so when you combine these two using polymerization, then you clearly get Jeremy, the Winged Dragon of douchebaggery. It is the only thing that makes sense. And I honestly think this special effect of having crazy women simp for him is really useless and should be banned from competitive play. I worked very hard on this joke, and I hope you laughed, because I know I did. Also, for real though, I think Jeremy may be using some kind of mind or brainwash or memory altering technique to make it seem like he's always been there working at the school, but in reality, he's obviously not. We also must discuss the confession from Ocaroon, because while Ocaroon confessed, Momo hasn't yet. She still needs to come back to reality and remember so that she can properly tell Ocaroon she loves him back, and I think this is happening at the end of the arc. What we could see now is Momo progressively falling for Ocaroon over the course of the arc naturally again. And the thing that helps her remember is when Momo, in her current form, confesses her love, which in the same moment reveals Ocaroon's full name to her, and they do a smooch, get married, the whole shebang. Also, the end of the chapter is them getting chased by Serpo, which is like a total mirror of the first freaking arc of this series. It's a total setup for basically they're just going to redo the first arc again so that she can get her memories back. It's actually really, really clever. As for the whistle, now that may come into play with Momo, because I think this whistle could either be a trap or a legitimate gesture of good faith by Jeremy. But both, I think, will come with pitfalls. If it is a trap, then I could see this being a trick from Jeremy as a way to get Momo to yield, and so if she uses the whistle, then she will be giving up her powers. But I ask, what if she does that? I mean, what if, and hear me out, what if Ocaroon is in danger because we know he is severely underpowered and also powerless now? What if he is captured and the only way to save him is to give up her powers and blow the whistle to yield, allowing Jeremy to save them both, but in return losing her powers? I could see that happening. The second option could be that he is genuine and is using it as a way to earn the trust of Momo and the Dandadan so that he can manipulate and control the situation, which is where that pitfall comes into play. This could then be a gateway into Momo trusting Jeremy and filling out an application to work at the Jeremy's bakery. This could lead into a secondary plotline where Momo finally does Ira in by poisoning her bread with cyanide. Or that doesn't happen. I don't know. I think I'm just yapping at this point. Thanks for watching so much, fam. Drop a couple of orange hearts to let me know you're a real one. Join my Discord. We are well moderated and a group of goofy and happy people who'd love to have you. Subscribe and like. Make it a great day or not. The choice is yours.